All right, once again, I'm going to take a very informal approach and take you through my thought process. So let's look at the requirements document and figure out the entities we have in this domain to build our conceptual model. So we need different levels of permissions for different users. So that tells us we probably have two entities here, permission and user. So let's go back to draw.io and add a couple of entities here. User and permission. So user can have multiple permissions. Let's add a relationship between the two. Once again, for simplicity, I'm going to go with a many-to-many relationship. We don't care about the type of the relationship at this stage. We'll refine this when we get to our logical model. So a user has permissions. Now back to the document. So the store manager should be able to add, update, and delete the list of movies. So these are our permissions. They'll be in charge of setting the stock for each movie as well as the daily rental rate. So this will happen at the time of adding or updating a movie. Cashiers should have a read-only view of the list of movies. They should be able to manage the list of customers and the movies they rent. All right, let's move on. Now at checkout, a customer brings one or more movies. So here I see two entities, customer and movie. These are the entities that we need to know about in this domain. So let's add them to our diagram as well. Customer and movie. So what is the relationship between these two entities? A customer rents one or more movies, right? So let me add this here. So customer rents movies. Now, back to the document. The cashier should look up a customer by their phone number. So phone number is one of the attributes of a customer. If the customer is a first-time customer, the cashier asks their full name, email, and phone number. So these are the attributes of each customer that we need to know. Let's add them over here. So name, email, and phone. Now here we can use Pascal convention by capitalizing the first letter of every word, or we can use camel notation. Earlier I used camel, then I changed it to Pascal. It doesn't really matter. This is just for brainstorming. This is for communication. All right, back to the document. The cashier then scans the movies the customer has brought to checkout and records them in the system. Each movie has a 10-digit barcode printed on the cover. So barcode is an attribute of the movie. Let's add that here. Barcode. Now back to the requirements. When the customer returns to the store, they will bring the movies they rented. If a movie is lost, the customer should be charged 5 times the daily rental rate of the movie. So for each movie, we need to know the daily rental rate. Let's add that to our movie entity, daily rental rate. Now, the cashier should mark the movie as lost, and this will reduce the stock. So stock is another attribute of the movie. For each movie, we need to know how many of them we have in the store. Let's add that to our model. We can call it stock or number in stock. Now, back here, there is no need to keep track of lost movies. All we need to know is the number of movies in stock and how much the customer was charged. For other movies, the customer should be charged based on the number of days and the daily rental rate. So for each movie that a customer rents, we need to know how many days the customer has rented this movie and then multiply it by the daily rental rate. Now, this number of days, what entity this attribute belongs to? Back to our model, we can put that on the customer because the customer might rent several different movies. By the same token, we can add it here because each customer might rent a movie for a different period. So that attribute is an attribute of the relationship between these two entities. So now we need to introduce a new entity and call it rental. This represents the relationship between these two entities. And that means we need to delete this relationship and recreate it through this new entity. So let me add a couple more relationships here. All right, so we've got the rental entity here. For this, we need to know the number of days. Now to calculate the rental fee, we get this number and multiply it by daily rental rate. If a movie is lost, we assume 5 as the number of days and multiply it by the daily rental rate. Okay, back to the requirements. We issue discount coupons from time to time. The customer can bring a coupon when returning the movies. So coupon is another entity. Perhaps each coupon has a code like ABCD and a discount value. So somewhere in our system, we need to register the coupons that we have created. Perhaps the store manager or the cashier can do that. Unfortunately, here, the requirement doesn't tell us who's going to do that. So for now, let's not worry about that. But what matters is that we're going to introduce a new entity here. Let's call it coupon. This coupon is going to have perhaps a code, maybe some description, and a discount. And this coupon can be applied to a rental. So there's a relationship between the coupon and the rental. There you go, like this. So let's rename this relationship to applied to. All right, now back to the requirements. It is possible that the customer returns the movies they have rented in multiple visits. That basically means I might rent 5 movies. Tomorrow I will return 2 of them. The day after I will return the other 3. And finally, we need to be able to track the top movies, top customers, and revenue per day, month, and year. So this is just a rough conceptual model that helps us understand the problem. Now, one thing that we didn't add here, and it was not reflected in the requirements, was the attributes of the user. What do we need to know about each user? Well, at a minimum, we need to know their username and password so they can log in into the system. What about permission? Each permission should have a description, like add movie, update movie, and so on. So we've got these 2 entities on the top, and below this, we've got these 4 entities: customer, movie, rental, and coupon. Next, we're going to refine this model and build our logical model.